today, she's one of the biggest stars all over the world.
أنا مسؤولة أكون في لبنان.
La familia de mi padre es proveniente del Líbano.
Because in the blood, and the blood doesn't turn into water.
You almost see that not going forward, not singing?
My classmates used to say that I used to sound like a goat. My music teacher, he didn't like my voice.
He was probably the first person who noticed that I had a voice.
Her father always used to wear black glasses to hide his sadness for what happened to her little brother. But then she did something very unique to help him get through his pain.
Pain and the grief that he was trying to hide behind his sunglasses.
And a few years later, her father's jewelry business went bankrupt.
She became a famous star, got married, and had 2 children. But then she lost everything in a shocking way.
It was confirmed by anonymous sources that PK had indeed cheated on Shakira.
Fue realmente el momento más negro de mi vida.
But what happened to her father and the way she dealt with him amazed millions of her fans around the world.
My dad unfortunately had a bad fall, and I accompanied him in the ambulance to the hospital. Please do send all of your best wishes his way.
Despite spending her entire childhood in the West, her roots changed her life in a very unique way.
En árabe significa llena de grasa.
De tus orígenes libaneses.
Sí, la familia de mi padre es proveniente del Líbano.
Because in the blood, and the blood doesn't turn into water. I feel proud of my Arabic heritage.
She had a nice and happy family until one day a disaster happened that completely destroyed this happiness.
When she was just 2 years old, her family was devastated when her half-brother was in a motorcycle accident, and a few years later, her father's jewelry business went bankrupt.
And because all of that, her father used to always wear black glasses to hide the sadness behind his eyes. And one of the few things that brought him out of this sadness was his daughter singing. But unfortunately, she wasn't really as happy as him doing it.
My music teacher, he didn't like my voice. He thought I was too disruptive for the choir because my voice is too strong. My classmates used to say that I used to sound like a goat. I think it was a way of bullying, you know, like I felt bullied in a way.
Yeah. And when she told her father, he was extremely frustrated because he believed in her and found happiness in her voice. But then her father gave her that one advice that completely changed her life. You almost see that not going forward, not singing?
Well, thanks to my parents, I didn't. I remember my dad telling me, do not give up on your vibrato because someday people will listen to you on the radio and they will say, this is Shakira because of her vibrato. It could have been really easy for me to give up, but I guess it just wanted to demonstrate that I was worth listening to.
And because of those words that her father gave her, she continued singing, despite all the bullying and awful comments that she would hear. But what happened to her later made them all regret those insults that they called her.
When she was 13, an agent from Sony Music noticed her and she got her first recording contract. And since the early 2000s, Shakira was one of the most successful Latin American artists.
The Grammy goes to
Shakira! I can't believe this.
Shakira has a net worth of $300 million.
And she thought she finally found her happiness with her husband and 2 kids. But just when she thought everything was fine, a disaster happened that completely took over her life.
Shakira and soccer star Gerard Piqué have split. On June 4th, the singer and her longtime boyfriend announced their breakup after 11 years together. It was confirmed by anonymous sources that Piqué had indeed cheated on Shakira, and that was the reason that she dumped him.
This is really hard to talk about personally. I've remained quiet and just tried to process it all. It's hard to talk about, especially because I'm still going through it.
But unfortunately, in less than a week, she faced even a bigger disaster than what her husband did to her.
Guys, I'm getting a lot of messages of concern that I was seen in an ambulance in Barcelona recently. But my dad unfortunately had a bad fall, and I accompanied him in the ambulance to the hospital where he's recovering now.
And from the moment her father entered the hospital, she completely disappeared from the public eye and stopped everything that has to do with her career. After a while, her fans were surprised to find out that she was with her father this whole time.
Levanta las piernas, levanta. Mira. That's what I'm talking
her, her father is the center of her whole world. And everything that she did always began with him.
My father has been an angel in my life, has been my best friend, has given me always the best advice. He always believed in my talent and recognized it, and he was probably the first person who noticed that I had a voice and I had a...
She kept praying day and night for her father to recover from his illness because she couldn't fathom living her life without him. Luckily, her father got better and he was able to leave the hospital. And this news made her the happiest person in the whole world.
I'd like to take a minute of your time to do something that will mean a lot to me. Today's my dad's 87th birthday.